By 2026, the global halal cosmetics market is projected to reach $59 billion. It has moved from a specialized demographic interest straight into the core of global beauty economics. Starting in 2026, halal certification functions as a mandatory market access toll for any brand wanting to stay on the shelf. Take Indonesia, the world's largest Muslim-majority nation. They represent a $3.9 billion cosmetic sector, about to close their doors to uncertified brands. This chart outlines the timeline for Indonesia's new BPJPH mandate. By October 17, 2026, every cosmetic product, from foundations to fragrances, must hold halal certification. If it doesn't, it gets pulled from the market. The process takes 8 to 12 months to prepare and another 3 to 6 months for assessment. That leaves a tight 18-month working window. For international brands, the clock is already ticking down to that hard deadline. If you wait until 2025 to start, you will hit a massive bottleneck. Thousands of companies are going to scramble for audits at the exact same time. The trade-off here is straightforward. You either invest the time and capital into a total supply chain overhaul right now, or you face complete exclusion from a multi-billion-dollar consumer base. Many brand owners assume they can call up their current standard GMP manufacturer and ask them to swap out a few ingredients next year. But halal compliance is a physical logistics problem. Using shared industrial vats and production lines, it is impossible to guarantee purity without absolute physical segregation. A conventional facility rushing to implement these standards will likely fail the strict supply chain audits. That results in rejected certifications and severe product launch delays for your brand. True halal compliance is a structural, facility-level commitment. It requires a specialized OEM partner, not a quick recipe adjustment. This table shows how a halal assurance system differs from standard practices. Facility rules require absolute physical segregation of halal production lines. Cleaning protocols require Sertu, a 7-step ritual cleaning preventing cross-contamination. Finally, halal standards mandate higher purity for all water used. There is a real cost to this level of control. These strict protocols severely limit your pool of capable manufacturing partners and will increase your base production costs. However, paying that premium up front is the only guaranteed method to pass a BPJPH or JAKIM audit and protect your international distribution channels. This flowchart tracks sourcing risks. A successful audit requires documenting the molecular origin of every component. Following standard paths, like animal fat glycerin or synthetic ethanol over 0.5%, triggers immediate rejection. Unbroken compliance requires active sourcing through plant-based glycerin, marine collagen, and strict ethanol limits. Beyond sourcing, you also face physical performance challenges. You have to formulate makeup that intentionally avoids creating an impermeable waterproof barrier on the skin. This is because Muslim consumers perform daily ritual washing. For washing to be valid, water must reach the skin, requiring specialized, lab-verified water-permeable formulas. Ethical sourcing and specialized lab testing undeniably raise your cost of goods sold, but in return, they lock in a demographic that uses these specific products every single day. The rigorous documentation required for these audits creates a verifiable paper trail that appeals to mainstream, non-Muslim consumers. This quadrant chart maps the overlap between strict Islamic manufacturing laws and the secular clean beauty movement. Features like mandatory animal-free testing and unbroken raw material traceability sit squarely in the high-impact zone. They naturally satisfy the exact demands of conscious, ethical shoppers worldwide. The upfront documentation requires serious effort, but positioning your product so that halal equals clean justifies a premium price tag and drives brand loyalty across all demographics. Your exact strategy for the 2026 deadline depends entirely on your current footprint. This matrix breaks down the path forward. For established global brands, the required action is immediate. You have to initiate the 18-month transition to a certified OEM today to bypass the impending 2025 bottleneck. The trade-off is accepting massive short-term logistical disruption now in order to safeguard your existing international shelf space and revenue later. For new indie brands, the strategy is building it into your foundation. You need to commit to partnering exclusively with halal-certified OEMs from day one. You face a slower initial time to market, but in exchange, you launch with a natively compliant, highly marketable ethical supply chain. For both groups, moving early secures manufacturing capacity and market placement before the rest of the industry panics. A quick reality check. If your business model relies solely on competing at the lowest possible price point, this route is dangerous. The tight margins won't support the continuous lab testing and plant-based sourcing required here. But if you commit, you gain access to the established manufacturing infrastructure in Malaysia, a region with nearly 30 years of expertise in Islamic production. The October 2026 mandate is a filtration event. It will lock out the unprepared and clear the shelf space for brands willing to build structural purity into their manufacturing from the ground up.